bringing you news, politics, and whatever else tickles my fancy. Welcome to the Ho Ho Show, and I'm your host, Ho Ho. Welcome live in the attic on the Ho Ho Show. And of course, I am your host, Ho Ho. Alright, and for those of you that want to call in on this episode, we're going to be discussing a few movies on here. The telephone number is 217-917-4405. Feel free to call in if you want to. And, we're discussing a few movies. So, I had heard, I seen an article, and it reminded me of something that I had heard about an upcoming series that I can only assume that HBO is doing, and this is a prequel to the hit series Game of Thrones. And more or less is what they're doing is they're going through the, just all the backstory that they have hinted upon through the series so far, and they're going to go into that and really, just give you a more in-depth understanding of that. And I mean, truth be told, if you are a Game of Thrones fan, as I am, then, that just sounds amazing to me, because there's just with what they can do with what they've done so far with the series, and to go into that storyline and really just show how it happened, show how everything went down and whatnot. I just, it's a definite amazing idea on that movie. Now, truth be told, yes, I am a Game of Thrones fan. But, the only thing that I really have an issue with on the show, isn't, it isn't in anything other than the things go like as slow as a snail sometimes. I've watched an episode of it where it's like nothing happened. The only thing that they did is really do some character development, and that was about it. But as far as plot and storyline goes, you didn't really learn anything. You really didn't find anything out or of what was going on, and that, that to me is just the only annoying thing about it. Although, granted, and on a flip side, that's one of the things that's amazing about it too, though. Because they spend a lot of time allowing you that opportunity to get to know the characters to where, I guess you feel more involved in it, and, they're so long and they just drag out so much, but it's like, and the length of it wouldn't be that big of an issue if it seemed like there was more that was going on. But of course, it's one of them things that when you're watching the movies or watching the series, you don't really notice that so much. I notice it whenever I'm rewatching things, yeah, but I haven't, I don't notice it so much as whenever I'm actually watching it. So, it's one of them good bad things. I like the series. I am a fan, and if they do this right, as they've been doing this series so far, if they keep, the same producers, they keep the same directors, the same writers, and everything else, as long as they do that, then I don't see there being an issue with them really going off the deep end on things, like if, for instance, the TV series with, regarding, not TV series, movie series regarding Underworld. You had Underworld 2, and then you had, the prequel of Rise of the Lycans, and they did an amazing job with Rise of the Lycans, especially considering they already had an established storyline that they had done in 1 and 2, that whenever they did that prequel, they honored that. They used, you could basically tell that it was all the same people that did the movie. And I'm not 100% sure if it was, but it looked like it was. Because they totally, they did not sway from it. They gave you more in depth. But, they didn't sway from that. They kept it the same. And that's, in a matter of speaking, that's, I don't want to necessarily say that's a rarity, but Hollywood has screwed up big time with that. Because I mean, and I'll get into that later. But with those movies, they totally paid homage. They totally paid the respects. They kept in mind, and they understood that they had a fan base, and the fan base knew what was going on. And so these guys, whether if they didn't, if they weren't the same ones that were involved in it, they they kept up with what was going on, and you didn't have screw ups like that. So that's one of the things that with this, that if they do that right, if they and I'm assuming that since it's HBO that's going to be doing it, that I'm you can almost bet your bottom dollar they're going to be paying attention to that. So I really don't think that's going to be an issue with this. At least I hope it isn't. And it definitely has a lot of potential to be just an absolute amazing show. I mean, it really does. I mean, Game of Thrones is awesome. I mean, the things that they've done in this show, I mean, it's yeah. It's a little gruesome in parts, but they've done it right. They did a really good job with it. So I want to go ahead and take a small break here before I get into the next little bit of movie news that I've seen, and this one I'm excited about. I mean, I really am. There's aspects of it that I don't like, but all in all, oh yeah. This has got some huge potential. So, quick break, and I'll be back in just a few minutes. Enjoy. All right, and I am back. And again, this is live in the attic with the Ho-Ho Show, talking about some movies, upcomings, and just a little, my 2 cents on some of this crap. All right, well, the next one I want to talk about, and again, whenever I seen this, I was pretty excited about it. It was, yeah. All right, well, let's just get into it. Now that the movie stopped and you can hear me a little bit better. So whenever I read this was completely news to me. I had not heard this anywhere else yet. So, it was like, I was actually kind of surprised that I hadn't heard anything about it yet, considering what it's talking about. But, I guess maybe some people are kind of sick and tired of seeing the, the series still continuing, or at least the movies still continuing. I can speak, really, I can. So it was Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger are returning for the new Terminator film. Now, I thought that's pretty awesome. And again, this is, one of them things. All right, and since I'm on Highlander, I have got to bring this up, okay? I pay attention to movies. Okay, whenever I see stuff like this, I pay attention to it, okay? There was a particular, like in the very first one, okay, now granted, this is going back some years. I don't remember when the first one actually came out. I think it was mid-'80s. I don't remember. But, there was a part in the movie where they were doing it was a flashback / flash forward. Yeah, and you had John Connor, which was Sarah Connor's son, which is the guy... he wasn't born yet in that one. But at any rate, try to keep my bunny trails a little limited here. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, he comes out of, this cave and he's overlooking I guess you can call it a battle that's going on between, men and machines. Or people and machines, if you want to be politically correct, bastards. And, he's looking at, he's got the binoculars over his face, and he brings the binoculars down, and he's just kind of panning over the scene that's in front of him, And whenever the camera looks at his face, he's got this scar, And for those of you that can't see, my finger is going down on my cheek and by my eye where the scar was. I don't remember if it was on the left side of his face or whether it was on the right side of the face. But at any rate, just a simple little detail that was thrown in there that may or may not have actually meant something. It may or may not have actually been put there on purpose, but it did say something about John Connor as far as he was a man whom had seen battle, and of course the subtext in that was, he has fought the machines and won, at least at some point in time in his military, whatever background, if you want to call it that, so he's a man who has proven himself worthy of the command, and I don't know if that's what they were going for, what they were working on that, but that was the message that I got, not watching it back then. I mean, I was too young to understand that then, but now as an adult, yeah, I get it. I get what they're saying. I get what there was, what they were pointing to, So let's fast forward a little bit, and the new. What was it? Genesis, I think, maybe? No. I'm sorry, not Genesis. It was, It was the one with Christian Bale in it, and I don't remember the name of it. But not important. It was the Terminator movie, like Salvation. That's it, Terminator Salvation. Great one. All right. So they are in. He's in Skynet. He's in the building, and then lo and behold, here comes Arnold. And, completely CG, of course, duh, you're not going to have, young Arnold come out freshly in a machine with, with old and wrinkled, old Arnold doing it. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, it's completely CG. We all know that. Who cares? They still did a good job with it. And the part of this that I felt was amazing, just definitely one of them things that I didn't see it coming, and whenever he's fighting, Christian Bale's character is fighting against the Terminator. And of course, as every Terminator movie, he loses his skin. Terminator does. And, his finger goes on his face, and he makes that scar that you see in the very first Terminator movie. Wow. I noticed that when I seen it. I noticed it when it happened. And I was just, wow. I was impressed. You're talking people whom, no, I don't think that this guy actually directed or produced the first one. But he watched it. And he paid attention to the details. And he paid honor to it. He paid homage. He paid honor to what had come before because that's what he was, building on, that storyline. And he showed it respect. So, going back to that, So one of the things that I read in here, and it was that both of them was going to be, coming into the movie, and it was basically going to pick up where I guess part 2 left off, just kind of ignoring what was going on, in the the beforehand, with the other movies that they have done since. They're picking up after part 2, and again, I don't know if this is one of them things that they're trying to kind of, I don't want to say revamp it, which is ridiculous to me, because you got Salvation and you got Genesis. What the hell are you doing trying to, revamp on the storyline? I'm hoping they're just more or less doing this in such a way as to continue on with it, but they're just giving you a little bit more of the history behind it and what's actually going on. The time before Sarah Connor dies and what was going on in her life before that, and that's what I hope that they're doing. Not that they're just totally ignoring it. They're just adding a little something to it, like a 2.5, if you want to call it that, and of which case, if that's what they're doing, then, hey, more power to you, I mean, I thought it was pretty awesome how they did Genesis, because you had, and this is what I thought was cool, and this is one of the reasons why I love the technology age that we're in, because you had 3 different ages of Arnold in that movie. You had young Arnold from the same one to from the beginning. You had the midlife Arnold, and then you had old man Arnold. So I thought that was cool how they, the same character playing 3 different roles. Well, not really 3 different roles, because of course young Arnold was completely CG'd, but you had 3 different, and it was cool, how they did that. It was just so neat, and, yeah, so age of technology, guys, I love it. It's very, very cool. But, and that's one of the things too. It's like, Sarah coming back into it, Linda, what's her name again? I'm sorry. Linda Hamilton, and man, I seen, this is nothing to deduct from her. She does not look like she aged well. She doesn't. She, and I don't know if this is an older picture. I don't know if this is, just that maybe she's changed since then. But I mean, if she's trying to, well, again, I don't know how they're going to take this movie, but seeing, how she looked now, at least in that picture, I was like, ugh. I don't know what direction they plan on going with. I mean, if they're going to have like her as an action type of a figure, it's like just seeing how she looks, I just don't know as if she's going to be up for that, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So, and again, nothing against her, just, no disrespect intended. It's just, I'm just calling it how I see it, and that's how I see it. If you don't like it, fuck off. And, so yeah, so now I'm going to go into my beef. So I gave you my awesomeness as far as what I seen that they did in Terminator Salvation. They paid honor to the first one. So I'm going to take a quick break right here. And when I get back, I'm going to discuss a movie that absolutely pissed me off to no end. I wanted to go to Hollywood and strangle somebody and throw a copy of the original movie at them and say, did you even watch it? Motherfucker. That's what I wanted to do. So I wanted to do that. They made me mad. So, just a couple minutes, I will return. Enjoy. All right, and I am back. So now, here we go. Now I'm in a part that irritates me. Highlander. All right. Now, for those of you that have not watched him, and again, this goes back to the 80s, maybe sometime in there. I mean, this is, an old flick. It really is. I acknowledge that. It's an old flick. But it's an oldie, but a goodie. So if you've never watched it, Highlander is one of them movies that it bounces back and forth on the timeline. And it does that to explain the whole immortal thing. So you've got, just draw a big old line on a piece of paper, and, I'll, go ahead and draw mine right there. And, so you've got part one, which takes place like right here, in this time frame, a long time ago on a continent far, far away. And then it ends over, here, like at the time, present day, 80s, 84, whatever, at the time, present day. Okay. And the thing about it, all right, okay, now I'm going to throw a couple spoilers out there because, let's face it, this is a 1980s flick. If y'all ain't seen it yet, y'all probably ain't want to see it. So, yeah, I'm just going to throw some spoilers out there. But the whole point of it, not necessarily the whole point of it, but as part of the storyline, there's a lot of immortals, and then they kill each other off, and their goal is to win the prize. Because there can be only one. All right, just had to throw that in there. You got to take a quick drink. Hold on a second. All right. So, anywho. So, at the end of part one, obviously, he wins the prize. He is the last immortal standing. Okay. Now, part two comes around. Now, this one, it's like it was way under budgeted. And, it was one of them things that the production was low. Heck, truth be told, the first one was cheesy, but the production value seemed like it was still there, But in two, it's like, holy crap, guys. And I think they had a bunch of budgeting yanked, or it was just because of what they were doing, how much... because they were doing future stuff. Because part two took place like well before part one, and then they changed what they did is they changed the origin story of the Immortals, and that's one of them things. That's the only thing about part two that actually ticked me off, is that they changed the origin, where they came from. They changed their, the very beginning of it. And did you know that whole beginning part? You have Sean Connery doing the dictation thing as far as the introduction into the movies. Through time we came and nobody knew that you were among us until now. Did you know that entire audio clip was recorded at his home in his bathroom? That's why it's so echoey like that. But it worked. It so worked. That's actually the same audio clip that they used in the movie. So, but anywho, just a little trivia for you, just in case you come on Jeopardy one time and they ask you where that was recorded at, you can say, oh, it was recorded in Sean Connery's home in his bathroom. So yeah, there you go. Little something for you. So, they changed the origin story, and that was the only thing that I didn't like. Other than that, first time I watched it, I wasn't a fan. Second time I watched it, wasn't a fan. Third time I watched it, oh yeah, I warmed up to it. It was good. And, yeah, whatever. Anyway. Oh, you suck. No. All right, anywho. Where was I? Oh, yeah, part two. So, it takes place before one and then after one. In the future. It's a future movie. Okay. And then they had part three. I know there was like a final dimension or something like that. And that one was good. That took place between the storylines of part one. And then you had, and I don't know if this was part 4 or if this was part 5. I don't completely remember. I think it was part 4. Okay. And this was whenever they had, this was, Duncan MacLeod, they had already, because they did a movie too. And This might have been part of, well, this is one of them that I did because this was more or less a movie that they did to, kick off the TV series. It was a mini movie, to kick off the TV series of Highlander and, with Duncan MacLeod. And is what they did with that one is, yeah, I had a thought right there, and, it was just an ADD moment. But anyway, and I know the reason behind that was because Duncan MacLeod, through the TV series, got a following, and they didn't want to, piss off the people who were fans of the TV series. But, I never was a big fan of the TV series. I'm a fan of the movies. But what they did was they decided that because of the fan base of Duncan MacLeod's fan base, they're like, we don't want to piss these guys off and kill them at the end of the movie. So they killed off Connor instead. It's like, what? Are you kidding me? What they did is they just totally threw, the first movie out the window, gone, trashed. Second movie, out the window, gone, trashed. Are you kidding me? You guys just spit in the face of, the producers and the directors and the writers of the original one. You spit in their face, and you just totally screwed up the entire thing. It's like, are you kidding me? They didn't watch the original movies, and I mean, there was a huge backlash from it because, I mean, let's put it like this, guys. If you're watching a movie, you really should pay attention to the movie fans. I wasn't a fan. I mean, I'm a fan of Highlander. I just never watched the series, and I wasn't a fan of the series. But even still, you got to honor the timeline. We already know that Duncan MacLeod, gets killed. We already know that. So I mean, they wrote it in there, as to help him out and just all this other kind of crap, and they just butchered the whole thing, and it ticked me off. I had been told that they, went back. And like in the next one that they did, I think there's maybe 2 other Highlanders after that. And I don't even know because I haven't watched them. They ticked me off so bad with Endgame, which Endgame, I kid you not, the plot was good. The, special effects was good. The production value was there. It was a very well done movie. And of course, you had the, you had the fan base and the revenue stream coming in from the, from Highlander the series, but, and that's why that production value was there, obviously. But even still, you've got to pay honor to what came before, and you can't totally trash all the other movies. And so, there huge backlash there, and it was one of the things that they completely, I guess they did another one to kind of explain, something in there. And, but basically I heard that they fixed their problem. It's like, yes, we acknowledge that we screwed up and we pissed you guys off, and I do apologize. And again, my voice cracked, and I hate it whenever that happens. So, but yeah, there's my rant on Highlander. If you guys have any movies out there that, you've pretty well had them same type of issues with, hey, let me know. Feel free. Shoot me an email. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. At Jared the Ho Show. Just simple. There you go. You can find me. Search me. There you go. And then Twitter is at Ho Show, I think is what it is. I don't know. I think that's what it is. There should be links to it in here somewhere. Yeah, there is. There's links to it. So at any rate, guys, that is the show. I thank you very much for joining me, and y'all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Have a good day, guys.